Hey there everybody and welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through the basics of how to get an amazing gaming setup, so a computer gaming setup for $1,000 USD or less. So we're going to walk through how I got this setup, but first I want to walk through the setup itself. So I'm going to show you everything that it came with. I'm going to walk through the specs at a very high level, and then I'm going to break down exactly where I bought all the different parts, and I'm actually going to show the receipt portion so that you can see that I did actually purchase the majority of these bigger parts. So before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe and check out the channel for new content. And as always, if you have any questions, drop them in the comment box below. So let's jump straight in. So first thing you're going to notice is probably going to be the monitor itself. So this is a 31.5-inch MSI curved display. This is a 1440p display with 165 Hz refresh rate. So you're going to get in some very solid 2K gaming. There were a set of speakers that came with this as well. The microphone in the back was not included, that was just mine. Then we do have this mechanical keyboard with the RGB backlighting, so you have some different settings you can change to change the actual colors that appear in the backlight. I got this little mat that has the different color settings, this RGB mouse. And then what we will do is we will look at the actual gaming computer itself. So the computer came without the best graphics card, so basically I had to upgrade that, so we'll go over that in a second. But the computer itself, so this was actually a surprisingly cheap component. So it came with an older, I believe it was a Ryzen 7, I want to say it was like a 2700X or something like that, so an older Ryzen 7 GPU. I love the fact that it was water cooled, and we have this NZXT Kraken pump. So this was already installed, so basically cooling hasn't been a problem. I'm consistently between 38 and 50 degrees on the actual CPU itself. I did add in this fan up here, so instead of the solid black one, I wanted one with lights in it. And then I did aftermarket add in these LED strips, and I did upgrade the GPU itself. So going over the specs of the computer, again, we have that older Ryzen 7, but it's still great for gaming. We do have the 16 gigs of RGB RAM that came installed, the AIO water pump, and then you have your two fans up here, and then the fans that are built into the cooler itself. And then lastly, we have our GPU down here. So I purchased this through Mercari. I'll show that in just a second, but it actually came with the original box. So we have the MSI, so basically this is just the GeForce RTX 2070 Super OC Edition. So very nice GPU. With this setup, I've been able to pretty consistently average around 90 to 100 FPS in a variety of different games, including the new Modern Warfare 2 release. But that's pretty much everything as far as specs. Now, the GPU before did not come with cables because it was literally just plugged into the PCIe slot. It didn't require additional power. So I did have to buy those on Amazon, which was about 20 bucks. So now that we know the specs of the device itself, let's go ahead and cover the total cost and everything that was essentially purchased. So I will move forward just a bit here, and we'll change the camera angle. This is where I actually purchased the gaming computer. So you'll see that I've won this auction on eBay. I've removed the seller's info just to keep it anonymous, but we have the gaming setup right here. So you'll see we have the computer itself, and then you'll see we have the older graphics card, which I ended up having to upgrade, and that's located right here. So we got the computer itself grand total after everything was included. So we had shipping, and then there were taxes. So I believe it came in just above $500. And this gaming setup did come with two monitors. So here's one, here's the second, and then everything else that I've already gone over. So we have the keyboard, mouse, etc. So it already came in as a pretty decent setup. Now, the next thing that I went forward with purchasing was upgrading the GPU. So that was where we got rid of the old one and swapped it out, and then I got a new monitor. So you'll see I purchased the monitor here, but I do want to show you this NZXT cam software as well. So the cool thing with the lighting here is pretty much everything's remote control. So if I pan over just a bit, you'll see that we have the lighting set up. So the logo on the inside is going to change colors based on CPU temperature, and the ring on the outside will change colors based on the GPU temperature. But if I wanted to, I could change this right now. So you'll see we can adjust the colors, and we can set them to spectrum waves, and you'll see on the inside of the computer, now the Kraken pump is changing colors. So I really, really like that. but we'll change that back to the default in a bit. But you do have the ability to do the exact same with the LED strips if you would like. So now you can see that pretty much everything on the inside is changing. And then lastly, we have the fan. So we'll do the same there. We'll change it to spectrum wave. And now you'll see that pretty much everything inside is just changing colors. So you do have a ton of control over the actual colors themselves. And the NZXT Cam software is free as well. So we will jump out of that, go back to the actual monitor itself. So when I purchased this, it came in just above $270. So it was, I think it was like a Black Friday promotion. It's not much more now, but I got this in at around $274 after taxes. So this is the website. It's just on Amazon, the MSI G32CQ4 32-inch gaming monitor. And then lastly, you'll see, we'll close out of the NZXT Cam software just to go over a couple of receipts to go over pricing. So we have this here. You can see that the order total was $275.60 for the monitor. It was just over $500 for the PC. I did end up selling one of the monitors that came with the computer, so that drops us down. I would say I got about $80 from that sale. And then you'll see that I bought this MSI RTX Super here for just over $240. So if we were to add in the $500 for the computer, we'll just round this graphics card to $250. And then if we were to round the monitor up to $280, we came in just over $1,000. But because I was able to sell one of the monitors which came with the computer, that ended up dropping the total price under $1,000 and gave a little wiggle room to buy the extra fans, lights, etc. So I have one more monitor for this. I'm going to be selling probably for $35 to $40, which puts us either right at $1,000 or just over, because the light strips are around $30 and then the extra fan was about $30. And I bought a new module for the NZXT setup, which probably wasn't needed, but that was another $30 to $40. So all in all, a couple of things I wanted to discuss on how to actually get a setup similar to this for yourself. First thing is check out auction sites and make sure that you're getting a purchase from just a valid source. Most companies like Mercari and eBay do offer some form of buyer protection. Read into that in case you need to leverage it. So basically, when you're going through and you're purchasing all of these different parts, so in my case, the actual listing for this computer didn't have a ton of details on it. So I just kind of had to make the assumptions myself. For example, I saw the water pump in the picture, so I was able to figure out, okay, this is probably the model. I looked up the case and was able to determine, okay, the parts are probably going to be worth the purchase. So all in all, and knowing that it had the extra monitors, the second piece of advice I have for you is don't forget that you have the ability to resell items. Now, doing it right before Christmas, right around Black Friday, probably not the best situation because you're going to have a lot of competition with retailers, but you also have an opportunity to buy a ton of newer parts. So if you're wanting to buy graphics cards used, for example, you want to make sure you're not getting something that's been heavily used by people, let's just say crypto mining, so that you want to avoid getting a graphics card that's on the end of its lifespan, essentially. So the main tips, look at different auction sites, utilize things like Mercari, eBay, etc. Ask questions about the device. Number two, think long-term. Make sure that you're getting the more expensive parts such as graphics card and the processor. Make sure you're getting things that are going to last you a long time. Number three, make sure that you're getting everything that you need up front. There are different things that are easy to forget about. For example, when I got this original setup, I thought I was going to like the monitor because it had two monitors included, and one of them was 165 Hz refresh rate, but it wasn't big enough. So I ended up upgrading to this monitor here. So just little things here and there can make a huge difference. So all in all, I would say the last bit of advice that I have for you is just, if it's too good to be true, try to err on the side of caution. Gaming computers are very expensive, as well as all the parts. There are tons of promos for Black Friday, and prices seem to be dropping regularly, but I do just want to share those bits of advice. So if you have any questions about the setup or really anything else that I've covered, feel free to drop it in the comment box below, and I'll see you all in the next video.